Come around, listening and join the fun. Learning as we go, new words and stories. Adventures begun. Let's open up the pages. Don't have far to look. It's all in a book. Ruthy's Reading Room. Ruthy's Reading Room. Ruthy's Reading Room. Ruthy's Reading Room.
Why, hello, little readers. Welcome to Ruthy's Reading Room. I'm Ruthy, and this is my buddy Jah. He's my favorite stuffy, and he's joining us for story time today. Can I get a big hooray? All right, perfect. I feel the energy and I feel the excitement. Now I'd like to invite you to run and get your stuffy or blankie or a reading buddy or your caregiver to come and enjoy the story with you. Run and come back now. All right, all my little readers are coming on back. Yes, come on, Grandpa. Come on, Nana. We're going to read a story. Help them out. Let's ask the question. Which book is coming off the shelf next? Let's see. All right, Jaw's helping me out. And look, what is this? Jayla's Jaunts, Adventures in Alaska. This book was written by Senyah Haynes and illustrated by Jessica Catarino. Awesome book cover, right? What do we see on the front? Let's see. What is this? My Canadian friends, is this a moose maybe? Caribou? What's the difference really? You guys got to help me out. And look, they definitely have their warm coat on. It looks like maybe a mom and daughter, or maybe friends, maybe cousins. Who knows? What do we have to do? Read the book. And it looks like it's pointing at this map. And do you think that this might be Alaska? I think that's a pretty good guess based on the name of the book, right? Uh-oh, I hear one of my neighbors are mowing the lawn. Can you hear that too? But what's most important, can you hear me over that noise? Because we got to hear the book, right? All right, let's get ready. Let's put our listening ears on and put our hands in our lap, and let's shh and tell that noisy lawnmower to be quiet too. That's okay. I know you're listening. All right, let me check. I'm going to use my binoculars. And let's see. All my friends are sitting quietly, I see. And we're ready to read the book. And I'm going to read loudly and clearly so you can hear me over all that noise. Let's hope they finish their lawn quickly, right? High five. All right, Jaw's going to sit with you guys again because we're missing our little bookshelf out here, aren't we? But it's so beautiful to feel the sun on my face and get to share a book with all of you. All right, let's get started. And you know what? When I read the name of the author, did any of you notice something? Senyah Haynes. Maybe some of my older readers, maybe you noticed. Senyah is the word Haynes backwards. Check. S-E-N-Y-A-H and backwards H-A-Y-N-E-S. So that's something called a palindrome, when you can spell the word backwards and front. Really cool, huh? Oh, I think the lawnmower is done. Excellent. Let's dive in before they start again. Jayla, a bubbly, bouncy, bright-eyed, buoyant, big ideas, big dreams, never bashful little girl, lies asleep in her bed on a cool winter's early morning. Now, we got to stop right there. Have we heard of something like that before, where all the b-b-b-bees get repeated? Do you remember what that's called? It's an alliteration. Good job, guys. High five. All right. In her colorful dreams, she is terribly busy fun making, which is her favorite thing to do, asleep or awake. How many of you like fun making? Yep. In your dreams, you're having fun. When you're awake, you're having fun. You just can't get enough. Suddenly, her magical Auntie Yah-Yah appears wearing a heavy, fur-collared red coat. All right, so there you have it, little readers. On the front cover is Jayla and her Aunt Yah-Yah. Okay. She holds a gigantic globe in her hand that she has pulled out of her tiny glittered purse that sparkles as if it makes its own sunlight. Rise and shine, sleepyhead. It's time for you to jump out of that bed, she says. Come, child, get up. Let's start the day. Dream time is over. It's time to play. Remember, Alaska is our destination, so enough already with this procrastination. Are you hearing the rhymes? And what's procrastination? Something we might do. We put off things that we need to do now. Yep. Here, put this on. It's cold up there with the caribou, seals, and polar bears. We're going to the land of the midnight sun, so get up, I say. Let's go have some fun. Auntie Yah-Yah tosses Jayla a bag full of snuggly gear for their journey. After getting dressed all warm and cozy from head to toe, Jayla takes Auntie Yah-Yah's hand, ready for their adventure. In a flash, they are in a large school bus, the only ones driving down a long stretch of highway. They say Alaska is beyond your dreams, but within your reach. Oh, I can't think of a more marvelous place I'd rather teach. Auntie Yah-Yah hands Jayla a cup of hot cocoa. Hey, how come it's so dark? I thought this was the land of the midnight sun, Jayla says. Auntie Yah-Yah has transformed into an elder woman with gray hair piled on top of her head in a large bun. Jayla knows that when her aunt appears this way, she is getting ready to teach. Oh, I like that. Someone who's going to spread some knowledge. Yes, it is, child, and oh, what a curious sight. But in winter, it's the land of the noontime night. Now darkness occurs in the middle of the day, but never fear, the stars and moon will brighten our way. Auntie Yah-Yah the elder points outside. This road we're on now was named the Alcan Highway, connecting Alaska to the lower 48 United States. Almost 1,600 miles were cleared and paved by toiling men, and before their efforts, this was all just wilderness back then. Imagine that. That's a lot of space that had to be cleared. Before this road, the only way to the state was by air or by the sea, but President Roosevelt didn't think that was the way it ought to be. He sent 10,000 plus soldiers from the Army Corps of Engineers. Their 8 months of hard work in cruel weather became what you see right here. Now you should know, back in the 1940s, the military was segregated. That means white people and black people were entirely separated. So of those thousands of soldiers who built the road, about a third of them were black. But while the white ones were given abundant supplies, the black ones often lacked. That means that they didn't have as much. It's a hard job to clear the wilderness. You need heavy equipment and machines to make the space for a road to go, to move the earth and cut down the trees. The white engineers were given bulldozers. The black ones, mostly hand tools. Imagine that. Some workers had heavy machinery, and others just had hand tools and had to use their own grit and muscle. That's pretty impressive. And good to know. Let's add that to our knowledge bank. So their work was harder, but they got it done despite the unfair rules. Oh, the winter was terribly cold, and believe me, it wasn't any fun, especially for the black ones who are really children of the sun. It got so bad that many of them cut holes inside their sleeping bags and wore them while they toiled as though they were an extra pair of pants. Super smart of them, right? When you're facing a hardship, you got to get creative. They soothed their spirits by singing songs as they labored in the snow, just as their ancestors had in cotton fields of long ago. They're referring to when Africans were enslaved and were forced to pick cotton under really grueling conditions. White soldiers were housed in wooden barracks with stoves. That means they slept inside. Black soldiers were housed in tents. From the cold, there was nowhere for them to hide. But just like their forefathers, they were resilient. They knew how to survive. There were times when they'd laugh and tell stories in camp and enjoy just being alive. That's really important. I hope everyone's listening closely to the experiences of these black soldiers and how it differed so much from the white soldiers who were doing the same work. Jayla looks at the road as they drive and thinks about all the hardworking soldiers without proper tools or shelter. She is happy they were able to create their own joy despite being treated unfairly. And she feels gratitude. Because of their effort, she can ride in comfort with her auntie while sipping hot cocoa. And that's so important that Jayla's thinking about that, because sometimes it's so easy to take things we have now for granted. And we sometimes forget that people had to go ahead of us and make the things we have now possible. Then, out of the corner of her eye, she sees a pair of large antlers that look like tiny naked trees bobbing in the shadows. Auntie, look, she gasps as she bounces in her seat and points out the window. Antlers! I saw antlers! Auntie Yah-Yah the elder says, well, of course you did. That's no surprise. What I said before was true. This is the land of seals and polar bears and caribou. Remember, I thought it might be a moose? Now we know it's a caribou. The bus pulls to the side of the road. They hop off, and Auntie Yah-Yah the elder tells Jayla, before leaving this great state, we have to see the most magnificent of sights. You can't say you've really been to Alaska unless you've seen the Northern Lights. Have any of my little readers been to Alaska? Maybe with their family? Have you heard of the Northern Lights? I've never been, but I hear it's beautiful. Jayla looks at the sky with wonder and amazement. She sees brilliant dancing lights so rich she wants to swirl them around with her finger. And then she begins to float. Oh, that sounds so nice. Auntie Yah-Yah the elder is working her magic. She is right beside her niece as they drift toward the sky. When Jayla looks around her, she is awash in the dancing lights. Aurora Borealis, I'd like you to meet my niece, Auntie Yah-Yah the elder says, and then she winks at Jayla. Stick with your auntie, kiddo, and the wonders will never cease. Aurora Borealis is a fancy name for northern lights. I told you this would be the most magnificent of sights. Jayla flies through the dancing lights with glee for hours. This is the best fun making ever. Can you just close your eyes and imagine seeing the northern lights and like floating through them and floating through that scene? That would be so cool. Time passes and passes and passes. All right, young lady, I hope you've enjoyed your visit, but all good fun ends, though the time has been exquisite. What's next, Auntie? Jayla asks, and she reaches for Auntie Yah-Yah the elder's tiny, glittered purse that sparkles as if it makes its own sunlight and pulls out the magic globe. She looks at the United States of America and finds their next destination. In her most bubbly, bouncy, bright-eyed, buoyant, big ideas, big dreams, never bashful sort of way, Jayla shouts out the answer. The next state that starts with the letter A is Arizona. Auntie Yah-Yah the elder transforms in front of Jayla's eyes in a final swirl through the northern lights. Her long dark locks flow like a waterfall around her waist as her youth returns. Way to go, that's the right answer. Next time, we're off to Arizona. You know, since we're headed to the southwest, I'll have to call my good friend Mona. Maybe Auntie Yah-Yah has a friend there. The northern lights are on the go, and Jayla and Auntie Yah-Yah are watching the last trace of their colors. Goodbye, Aurora Borealis, Jayla says. Thank you for letting me and my Auntie Yah-Yah have fun in your light. With that, it is time to go. Come, kiddo, we've had our fill of cold weather. Next time we can see the Grand Canyon together. You've bid Aurora farewell, but you're not quite done. Now say goodbye to the land of the midnight sun. Goodbye, Alcan Highway. Goodbye, soldiers with resilience. And goodbye, Alaska, Jayla yells. Take good care of the polar bears and seals and caribou. And right on cue, Auntie Yah-Yah takes Jayla's hands and they fly through space and time. The end. Oh, hooray! What a great book! We learned about Alaska and some things that happened in the history and what led to Americans being able to travel from the lower southern states up to Alaska in the north. Excellent learning in this book. And stay tuned because we're going to be reading lots of books from this series where Jayla and her Aunt Yah-Yah travel all through the states. So keep checking back. We'll be visiting Arizona next time we read a book from this series. But don't forget to check in the description below. You'll find a link to where you can buy this book. And remember, the best place to read is wherever you are with a book. Why not make it this one and experience all the knowledge that we got from this book again and again? Okay? So John and I are so happy you joined us in the garden again for another story time. And if you enjoyed reading with us, please remember to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and hit that notification bell. We look forward to reading with you next time. Happy reading, little readers. Goodbye.
Ruthy's read it.